It feels like just yesterday when Stranger of Paradise Final Fantasy Origin was first unveiled to a reception of sorts. However, as time has gone along, that tone has shifted in favor of the game. People have gone from perceiving the game as one weird joke to one weird joke, but ironically. And now many fans find themselves more excited for the game than ever. They've also recently released a third demo, and having personally played all three of these demos, it's easy to see how they've evolved this game through feedback over time, and perhaps devolved in some areas. The most important thing to note about this demo, however, is that it's actually the first few opening hours of the game, much like Dragon Quest XI and Neo Twiwi. This demo allows you to carry your save progress into the final game, and I'm an insanely huge fan of this style of demo. I absolutely commend Square for continuing this style, as I think it's the absolute best way to do a demo. It also makes me feel more confident about investing my time in the demo, finding every secret, item, and leveling up as much as I can, building anticipation for the final release. That being said, let's talk about the demo itself. Getting one of people's immediate gripes out of the way: the graphics in this game. Oof. This is a budget title, so obviously it is unreasonable to expect this game to look like Remake Intergrade or Final Fantasy XVI. However, the game seems to have some really weird issues that have far less to do with sheer budget and more to do with flailing tech. On PS5, you'll have the option to optimize for resolution or performance. Nearly every game that I'm given this option on, I go for performance, as seeing the game run in a consistent 60 FPS matters more to me. However, the internal resolution in this game is bizarrely low. Even on PlayStation 5, it will straight up look like you're playing a PS3 game in 720p. And if you're playing this on PS4, this is apparently even worse, with many people saying the game is extremely tough to look at on last-gen platforms. That being said, optimizing for resolution isn't ideal, as you will encounter a number of frame drops during more intense combat scenes. The end result is that you're cornered between having something that looks fuzzy and pixelated, or having something that looks mildly crisp, however dips in performance, and particularly when you need the performance to hold up most. This puts you in a weird paradigm where it feels like you just can't win. However, you can win by hitting that subscribe button, so we can get to 90k subs by the end of the year, and to celebrate my 5th anniversary as a content creator on this channel this month. It's worth being said that the game still has a week to go, and these issues may be ironed out by launch, and hopefully they will be. Though with those grievances aside, actually playing the game is pretty fire. If you've been knee-deep in Elden Ring like I have, you might find how snappy and fast the combat is here to be somewhat of a palate cleanser. There's a variety of different jobs here, and maxing those jobs out unlocks higher level jobs. There's a lot of different playstyles here, and you're given free reign to try all of them, and being able to switch between these jobs on the fly makes it feel like the game is encouraging experimentation. Of all the action Final Fantasy games that have been released so far, this might actually be the best one in terms of combat, ranking above or below Final Fantasy VII Remake depending on personal biases and what you look for in combat. Personally, I think I like Final Fantasy VII Remake's combat a little more, but I can easily see people preferring this game, and I couldn't argue against it. Conversely, there's going to be a number of Soulsborne Neo players that are going to find this game far too easy even on its hardest difficulty. Having played all three of the demos, I can say that hard mode on the latest build is actually easier than normal on the first two demos. I think the second demo really struck a good balance in its difficulty, but in this latest version it feels pretty easy to cheese many things. I played on hard mode thinking I'd be sweating really hard, but aside from a few sections, it wasn't really that bad. And if this is manageable for someone who kind of sucks like me, I imagine that for expert action game players, they might find themselves falling asleep at the wheel, so to speak, at the very least during these early gameplay sections. It's impossible to tell how this will evolve into late game sections, and once you get later into the game, we may find this game being incredibly difficult, though it's just extremely hard to say right now. But currently speaking, things such as AI party members and magic are so busted in this game, you can typically cheese most things using them. Imagine a Soulsborne game with 2 summons constantly at your side that rarely if ever die and can absorb tons of aggro. And that's basically what this game is. Thankfully, there is an option to solo without AI party members, playing only as Jack. and this self-imposed challenge will likely be what more advanced players will be looking for. Then there's the story and presentation in this game, and boy, it's something. Many people find this story to be campy, satirical, and meme-worthy, and thus find it to be incredibly entertaining. Some will say that this is the full intention of the game, comparing it to that of Metal Gear Rising. MGR is one of my favorite games of all time, in part because of how ridiculous and nonsensical that game is. It feels like they decided to make JoJo Part 9 into a video game. If you find this game to have those attributes from what you've seen so far, this demo will likely double down and make you love those attributes even more. And if you feel the opposite, you will feel even more strongly about that. And beyond some of the oddities with this game's performance, there are also things like the character's lip flaps looking bizarre. I'm not sure if this is an issue on the Japanese version, but oftentimes characters' lip flaps would just look strange. On a personal level, I haven't found this game as of yet to nearly have had the same self-awareness that so many others have claimed it to have. But that being said, I do think this game is hilarious, and not because it's being a Platinum Games level of self-aware flamboyance, but because to me it feels like a tone-deaf singer on American Idol who thinks they're hitting every single note, and they're missing all of them. Granted, that still has a strong level of entertainment value to it, and many people will find themselves entertained by that idea alone. Look, I'm often in the minority in these situations, so take what I have to say with a grain of salt. If you like it, if you think it's genius, more power to you. Though if you find my opinions aligning with yours more often than not, it is what it is. Overall, it's still too early to definitively say how Stranger of Paradise will be. It's got mighty fine combat paired with things that are of acquired taste, and will lend itself to be a cult classic with some, and perhaps lambasted by others. But smack that subscribe button and let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Shout out to patron Maddie Lynn and the rest of the Ultima community.